In the world of combat sports, the legends who've graced the ring and octagon carry a weight that goes beyond mere titles and trophies. They've left an indelible mark on the history of fighting, captivating audiences with their skills, their will, and their fierce determination. But what if two of the most dominant forces in the history of boxing and mixed martial arts collided in an imaginary match? What would happen if the raw power of Mike Tyson, one of the greatest heavyweight boxers of all time, faced off against the unrelenting precision and agility of Conor McGregor, the UFC's most charismatic and unpredictable fighter? It's a battle that has never happened in real life, but today we're about to dive into the mind-bending scenario of what such a confrontation could look like. Picture this. The bell rings, and the stage is set for a showdown that could rewrite the very definition of combat sports. Tyson, a man whose punches could end a fight with the blink of an eye, steps into the imaginary ring, his eyes burning with the same intensity that made him a feared champion in the 1900 ADCs. His reputation precedes him, a fighter whose ferocity in the ring earned him the nickname Iron Mike. He's quick, he's dangerous, and he's ready to unleash the power that once made him the youngest heavyweight champion in history. But this isn't a match against just any fighter. It's against Conor McGregor, a man whose own reputation as a knockout artist and master of mind games has earned him the title of the Notorious. McGregor, the first fighter in UFC history to hold two championships simultaneously, brings a different kind of fire to the imaginary contest. While Tyson relies on his brute force and aggressive technique, McGregor is known for his lightning-fast reflexes, impeccable footwork, and ability to pick apart opponents with precision. He's not just a fighter. He's a strategist, a technician, a man who can make the impossible look effortless. His taunts and verbal sparring have often rattled even the most composed competitors, and his left hand is one of the most feared weapons in the world. As the two fighters step into the ring, the stakes couldn't be higher. Tyson's thunderous right hook could easily send McGregor to the canvas, but McGregor's ability to dodge and counterstrike might keep Tyson on edge, preventing him from delivering those knockout blows. For Tyson, this fight would be all about getting close, closing the distance, and delivering the kind of crushing punches that have ended so many careers. For McGregor, it would be about patience, precision, and waiting for the right moment to strike, because in this imaginary clash, one mistake could change everything. The crowd roars with anticipation, a buzz of excitement rippling through the air as these two legends face off. The first round begins with both fighters circling each other, sizing up the other's strengths and weaknesses. Tyson moves with his signature aggression, his eyes locked onto McGregor, searching for an opening to land his devastating punches. Meanwhile, McGregor dances around the perimeter of the ring, looking for ways to lure Tyson into his own traps, waiting for the perfect moment to unleash his left hand. The tension is palpable, as both men know that the outcome of this fight could be decided in a split second. But what happens when two icons of such different styles meet in the ring? Does Tyson's raw power outweigh McGregor's technique? Or does McGregor's agility and strategic mind outsmart Tyson's relentless pursuit of the knockout? The fighters continue to test each other, with Tyson occasionally throwing thunderous punches that seem to make the entire ring shake, while McGregor counters with slick jabs, his footwork fluid and evasive. As the rounds pass, the intensity heightens. Tyson grows more frustrated as McGregor slips past his punches with ease, yet each time Tyson lands a blow, it's a reminder of just how dangerous he is. McGregor, on the other hand, can feel the pressure mounting. He knows that Tyson is a ticking time bomb, and it's only a matter of time before he lands one of those knockout punches. With each passing moment, the audience is kept on the edge of their seats, unsure of how the fight will unfold. Will Tyson's legendary power prove too much for McGregor's skill and speed? Or will McGregor's mental warfare and technical brilliance earn him the victory? One thing is for certain, this is a fight like no other, a clash of titans where every punch could change the course of history. But just as it seems like the fight is nearing its climax, the unimaginable happens. Tyson, who's been relentless, showing no signs of slowing down, suddenly finds himself struggling to land those decisive blows. McGregor, who's been able to evade his most dangerous strikes, seems to have figured out Tyson's rhythm. But is it too late? Has McGregor finally found his moment of opportunity? Or will Tyson dig deep, summon the strength of a champion, and land the knockout that would seal his victory? The question hangs in the air, unanswered, as the fight continues to build to a fever pitch. What happens next? Who will walk out of this imaginary ring as the victor, and who will be left with nothing but the remnants of their dream? The clash of these two warriors is only just beginning. Stay tuned, because the outcome might be more surprising than you ever imagined. As the match continues, the crowd's excitement reaches a fever pitch. Yet behind the scenes, the history of both fighters looms large, and it's clear that this fight is not just about who's the better man today. It's about legacies, what Tyson and McGregor have both built through years of hard work, sacrifice, and countless battles. Tyson's journey from a troubled youth to one of the most feared men in boxing is a tale of rage and redemption. He was a once-in-a-generation athlete whose speed and power earned him the title of the youngest heavyweight champion ever at just 20 years old. His rise was meteoric, but it was also chaotic, a whirlwind of fame, personal struggles, and a notorious fall from grace. Tyson's battles outside the ring were often more brutal than the ones he fought inside it. His ability to overcome adversity, however, is what made his name a permanent fixture in boxing history. McGregor, on the other hand, forged his path in the world of MMA, a sport that was just beginning to capture mainstream attention when he burst onto the scene. Known for his brash personality and sharp wit, McGregor was a lightning rod for attention long before he even made it to the UFC. What set him apart, however, wasn't just his gift for trash talk. It was his ability to back up every boast he made. McGregor became the first fighter in UFC history to hold 2 titles simultaneously, a feat that seemed impossible before he accomplished it. His journey from humble beginnings, working as a plumber, to becoming one of the highest-paid athletes in the world was nothing short of extraordinary. And yet, his journey was marred by controversies, both inside and outside the octagon, which only added to the mystique surrounding him. As the match intensifies, both men start to show the scars of their past. Tyson, always known for his explosive starts, seems to be slowing down. His punches, though still dangerous, carry less of the same deadly intent. The weight of years in the sport, coupled with personal battles that have plagued his mind, may be starting to show. He's still dangerous, still capable of ending the fight with a single punch, but McGregor's constant movement, his ability to frustrate Tyson's rhythm, is starting to pay off. McGregor, though calm and composed, can't hide the fatigue in his eyes. He's been in this situation before, outmatched physically, but with his mind always working 2 steps ahead of his opponent. The longer he survives, the more he knows the odds shift in his favor. It's at this point that a subtle shift occurs, one that's not immediately apparent to anyone in the arena, but that those watching closely can begin to feel. Tyson's aggression starts to wane, not because he lacks the desire to win, but because the weight of a career filled with explosive moments, victories, and setbacks seems to be catching up with him. McGregor, Ever the opportunist begins to capitalize on this. His footwork is now a dance, weaving him in and out of Tyson's reach, while his jab lands more frequently, nicking Tyson's defenses. McGregor's eyes glint with the promise of victory, but there's also something darker in his gaze. Something that says this fight isn't just about winning, it's about proving something deeper, something personal. His confidence is a double-edged sword, pushing him forward, but also blinding him to the fact that Tyson is still, at any moment, a threat. Meanwhile, Tyson feels the weight of his legacy. In his mind, he can't allow this to slip away. His past, the brief reign at the top of the boxing world, the glory, the mistakes, everything he's been through comes rushing back. The ghosts of his own doubt begin to claw at him. What if this is the fight that ends it all? What if he's no longer that animal that once tore through his opponents? The pride that once fueled his every punch now serves as both his strength and his burden. From the outside, the fight looks like a clash of styles, but what's really at stake is the essence of who these men are. Tyson's fury is that of a man constantly trying to outrun his own demons, while McGregor's brashness hides a hunger that's driven by a need to prove himself not just to the world, but to the man he sees in the mirror every day. Both men are fighting not just for a victory, but for a piece of their own identity, a piece that, when lost, would be impossible to reclaim. As round after round passes, the tension mounts. Tyson, struggling to land a definitive blow, begins to rely more heavily on his instinct and power. But McGregor's adaptability makes it difficult for him to find his rhythm. The UFC champion is taking fewer risks, though, testing his opponent's defenses rather than trying to force an opening. For a moment, there's almost a sense of resignation in Tyson's eyes, a fleeting recognition that this fight may not be the way he envisioned it. Could it be that McGregor's unorthodox strategy, his unconventional footwork, is actually unraveling everything Tyson's known about fighting? Yet McGregor, too, is beginning to show cracks. His confidence, while unshakable, is starting to feel strained. He knows that with each moment, the risk grows. Tyson's explosive power is still looming, and the longer McGregor stays in close range, the more dangerous it becomes. He's been hurt before, and the thought of that happens to linger at the edge of his focus. But McGregor, like Tyson, doesn't back down. He presses on, his mind focused on one thing outlasting the storm that Tyson is known to bring. What happens next? Will Tyson, despite his weariness, find a way to bring the fight to an end with one final devastating punch? Or will McGregor's calculated strategy earn him the win, using his elusive movement and sharp strikes to whittle down Tyson's formidable might? The clock is ticking, the rounds are winding down, and neither fighter seems willing to back down. Both are pushing themselves beyond their limits, trapped in a dance where one false move could be the difference between triumph and defeat. With the outcome still uncertain, the tension continues to build. The question is no longer about who has the advantage, but who has the willpower to carry their legacy through to the very end. The fight enters a critical moment. With each passing second, the stakes grow higher, and the tension in the ring reaches an almost unbearable level. Tyson's body is battered and bruised, but his will remains unbroken, while McGregor, though still elusive and sharp, begins to feel the weight of his strategy. The relentless pace of the match, combined with the pressure of facing a living legend, has started to take its toll on both fighters. They're pushing themselves past the limits of endurance, caught in a battle not just for victory, but for something far deeper, the validation of everything they fought for, everything they've sacrificed. As Tyson moves in for another heavy strike, there's a moment when the crowd seems to hold its collective breath. McGregor's footwork is flawless, But Tyson's movements have become more unpredictable. In a split second, the situation takes a shocking turn. Tyson feints a left jab, a move that's almost too subtle for the human eye to catch, and McGregor, thinking he has the opening, moves in to land a right cross. But Tyson's trap is set, and with a devastating counter, he lands a blow to McGregor's temple that sends him stumbling back, disoriented. It's a punch that echoes through the arena, one that seems to stop time for just a brief moment. The crowd erupts, but the silence that follows is filled with doubt. Has Tyson finally done it? Is McGregor, the ever-confident fighter, finally shaken? McGregor struggles to regain his bearings, his head spinning, but there's something in his eyes, a spark that refuses to be extinguished. This is the moment where legends are made or broken. Tyson, sensing an opportunity, steps forward, his instincts telling him that this could be his final chance to end it. But just as he closes in for the knockout, something unexpected happens. McGregor, using every ounce of his remaining energy, drops his guard for a split second and goes for a wild, uncalculated haymaker. It's a move that feels almost reckless in the face of Tyson's precision, but then, against all logic, it lands a glancing blow that catches Tyson off guard. It's not enough to drop him, but the impact sends Tyson reeling, throwing him off balance for just a fraction of a second. That brief moment is all McGregor needs. He quickly follows up with a barrage of quick, sharp jabs, his left hand now a blur as he keeps Tyson at bay. The crowd goes wild as McGregor, no longer the underdog, starts to seize control. Tyson, stunned and momentarily shaken, is forced to retreat, his mind spinning as McGregor capitalizes on the opening. This isn't just about who has the better technique anymore. It's become a mental game, and McGregor, with his ability to read his opponent, is proving to be more than just a flashy showman. He's digging deep into the psychology of the fight, pushing Tyson to question his own abilities. Tyson, known for his aggression, is now the one on the defensive, struggling to find his rhythm. The pace of the match has flipped. What once seemed like a sure victory for Tyson is now anything but certain. Behind Tyson's retreat, there's a deep sense of frustration building. He's been here before, but this time it feels different. It's not just the punches that are landing. It's the realization that McGregor might have unlocked the secret to his downfall. For Tyson, this feels like the last real challenge he's ever faced, and with every exchange, the question looms larger: has he lost his edge? The harsh reality that McGregor, a man he once underestimated, is now dictating the tempo of the fight is a blow that cuts deeper than any punch he's received so far. Meanwhile, McGregor is feeding off the momentum, feeling the adrenaline surge through his veins as the fight swings in his favor. He's always been a fighter who thrives in chaos, who excels when the odds are stacked against him. But in the back of his mind, a nagging feeling starts to emerge, a sense that Tyson, despite being on the defensive, is still the most dangerous fighter he's ever faced. Every time McGregor lands a punch, there's that familiar silence that follows, because Tyson is always one punch away from ending it all. McGregor can feel it, and it fuels him, but it also keeps him on edge. As the round draws to a close, both men are clearly exhausted, their bodies covered in sweat, their movements slower, but still dangerous. They're both digging deep into their mental reserves, each trying to outlast the other. But just when it seems like McGregor might have turned the tide completely, the unexpected happens. Out of nowhere, Tyson, who has been knocked back but never outfires back with a combination of punches so quick and powerful that McGregor barely has time to react. A right hook lands square on McGregor's jaw, followed by a crushing uppercut that sends him stumbling backward, dazed and momentarily disoriented. The arena holds its breath as McGregor, somehow still standing, fights to regain his composure. The tables have turned once again. McGregor's brief dominance in the fight has been met with Tyson's primal fury, reminding everyone that no matter how much time has passed, the baddest man on the planet is always just one punch away from reclaiming control. But as McGregor stumbles, a strange thing happens. He doesn't panic. In that brief moment of vulnerability, he feels something shift in him. It's the same feeling he had when he first entered the UFC, the same drive to prove himself when no one believed in him. Tyson's power is undeniable, but McGregor knows something that Tyson might not fully realize, that he's not just fighting for victory. He's fighting for redemption, for the validation of his entire career. The fight, now approaching its final rounds, feels like it could go either way. The arena is filled with anticipation as both men stare each other down, knowing that this could be their last chance to seize victory. Tyson's legacy is on the line, but McGregor's heart and resolve are being tested in ways he never anticipated. Both fighters are at their breaking point, and as they prepare for what's to come, one thing is clear: this fight will not be decided by skill alone. It will be a test of will, of who can withstand the most pain and who can outlast the other in the battle for ultimate supremacy. The question that remains is simple: who will have the heart to finish this fight, and who will be left wondering what could have been? The final round begins, and the tension in the arena is palpable. Both fighters stand across from each other, battered and bruised, but the fire in their eyes burns as brightly as ever. Tyson's every step is calculated, his instincts sharp, yet there's a lingering doubt that holds him back. McGregor, on the other hand, seems to have found a second wind. He's not just fighting to win anymore, he's fighting to prove something to himself, to the world, and to Tyson. This is no longer about the fight itself. It's a battle of pride, legacy, and the very essence of who they are. The bell rings, and they meet at the center of the ring with a final, desperate energy. Tyson, knowing that this could be his last chance, unleashes a ferocious combination, throwing everything he has left into his punches. Each one carries the weight of his past, the history of his rise and fall. But McGregor is no longer just evading. He's countering with precision, his movements more fluid than ever. His footwork is poetry in motion as he sidesteps Tyson's blows with grace, his eyes locked on his opponent. The crowd watches, captivated, as the battle intensifies. Tyson throws a powerful right hook, his signature punch, but McGregor ducks just in time, stepping to the side and landing a sharp jab to Tyson's ribs. It's a moment of brilliance. McGregor, using his signature left hand, lands a devastating shot to Tyson's temple. The arena erupts in shock as Tyson stumbles backward, his legs wobbling, and for the first time in the entire fight, it seems like McGregor might just have done it. Tyson is reeling, his vision blurred, his body heavy. He attempts to shake it off, but the relentless precision of McGregor's punches has finally taken its toll. McGregor, sensing the opportunity, moves in for the kill, his speed and confidence now undeniable. He delivers a lightning-fast uppercut, followed by a brutal left cross that connects squarely with Tyson's jaw. The sheer force of the blow sends Tyson crashing to the canvas. The crowd gasps as Tyson hits the mat, his body crumpling with an audible thud. The referee begins the count, but Tyson, who's been through so much in his career, struggles to push himself up. His vision is clouded, his body unresponsive to the demands of his mind. His once unstoppable spirit seems to have finally broken. As the referee's count reaches 7, Tyson makes one last desperate attempt to rise, but his legs betray him. He collapses back to the canvas, unable to continue. McGregor, exhausted but victorious, stands in the center of the ring, chest heaving as the realization slowly sinks in. He's done it. Against all odds, he's defeated one of the greatest boxers to ever live. The arena explodes in applause as McGregor raises his arms in triumph. But there's no cocky smile on his face, no loud proclamation of his greatness. Instead, there's a moment of quiet reflection in his eyes. This win wasn't just about silencing critics or adding another victory to his already storied career. It was about proving something deeper, something far more personal. Tyson, sitting on the canvas, slowly raises his head. His eyes are filled with disappointment, but there's also something else, a sense of acceptance. He knows this might be the end. The years of battles, the endless struggles with his own demons, have taken their toll. But in that moment, there's no bitterness in his heart, only a resigned sense of peace. He's lived a life that most could only dream of, and while this defeat stings, it's not the end of his legacy. Tyson's story will live on, not just in the victories, but in the lessons he's taught about resilience and redemption. As McGregor walks over to Tyson, there's no animosity, only respect. In the ring, they were adversaries, but in this moment, they share a bond that only fighters truly understand. McGregor extends a hand, helping Tyson to his feet. It's an unexpected gesture, one that speaks volumes about the respect he has for the man who, for so many years, was at the pinnacle of the sport. The crowd watches in stunned silence as Tyson accepts the hand, pulling himself up with McGregor's help. The two men exchange a look, an unspoken acknowledgement of the battle they've just fought, both physical and mental. The final bell rings, and McGregor is declared the winner. But the true victory lies in the journey, the shared experience of two warriors who gave everything they had. The audience knows this isn't just another win in McGregor's career. This is the culmination of a lifetime of sacrifice, a moment that will be etched in the history of combat sports forever. As McGregor's hand is raised in victory, the crowd chants his name, but Tyson's legacy is never forgotten. His spirit, his ferocity, and his determination will continue to inspire generations to come. In the end, the real story of this match wasn't about who won or lost. It was about two men who fought not just for glory, but for the honor of the fight itself. They each walked into the ring carrying the weight of their own pasts, their own battles. And in the end, they both left a piece of themselves there. As McGregor stands victorious, Tyson watches from the sidelines, his gaze no longer filled with the hunger to prove something, but with the wisdom that only comes after a lifetime of struggle. They both understand now this was a fight not only for the title, but for the very soul of what it means to be a fighter. As the final shot of the match lingers in the air, the message is clear. Every legend, every fighter has their moment. But it's how they rise after defeat, how they keep moving forward, that truly defines their legacy. And that, more than any victory or loss, is what makes them immortal.